dominate the Cardinals' move in the late 80s. The Cleveland Browns, you mentioned them. I remember that very well. I remember all of the hatred around Art Modell. Art Modell wasn't even present the last Cleveland Browns home game in 1995 when they played the Cincinnati Bengals. Then again, he would have been a big idiot if he did show up, because listen, the hatred there, question is who's more hated, him or LeBron James the first go around. Like it's Art Modell. The Houston Oilers the following year. The Houston Oilers, they moved to Tennessee. They become the Titans a few years later. But Houston had a run.
Actually, okay, if memory serves me correctly, you're
right.
You know what? If there's one man who was angered about a lot of the moves, it was my dad. My father loves the NFL. He loved even the old AFL days. He loved NFL. I mean, he's always enjoyed it. But my father always was angered by all these bad decisions to move teams there, move teams. And, can you blame Johnny Unitas? It turns out Johnny Unitas did not want to have his number retired as an Indianapolis Colt. He decided, and the late, great Johnny Unitas said, I'm going to have my number retired in Baltimore because this is where my career began, with the Baltimore Colts.
See, that's the thing, Sean. I mean, you take a look at these teams that have relocated. We got a few minutes here. We'll continue this after the break. We'll continue this topic after the break. This is a great topic here. But you take a look at these teams outside of the Cardinals moving from St. Louis to Arizona in the late 1980s. You're talking about teams such as the Colts from Baltimore to Indianapolis, the Browns from Cleveland to become the Ravens in Baltimore, the Houston Oilers, charter AFL team from Houston to Tennessee, eventually becoming the Titans. I'm not going to say much about the Los Angeles teams because LA is not really a sports town to begin with, but you take a look at those three organizations. The Colts, the Browns becoming the Ravens, the Oilers becoming the Titans in Tennessee. I guess that's what should be surprising here, is because how could these teams move that have such strong, loyal fan bases? I guess overall we should be shocked of the relocation of these great teams because they're historic teams. They meant so much to their city. You look at Johnny Unitas, the Baltimore Colts, Jim Brown, Cleveland Browns, the Houston Oilers, a charter member of the AFL. The Astrodome used to rock. I know they had attendance problems in the later years, but if you take a look at the history and just the close connection they had with these teams, that's a shock within itself. And listen,
Indeed.
We're going to continue. Let's continue more about this conversation when we come back. And I want to talk about St. Louis here and give you my thoughts. Finally, I got to give you my thoughts about St. Louis. And we're going to do that. Hey, there's plenty of room in our vehicle for you to hop aboard and cruise with us. In fact, you are cruising on the Sports Drive here on Jock Journal Radio.
Time for commercials. If you listen hard enough, you might hear the subliminal messages telling you to buy whatever we are selling.
One 877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Also on the web at carsforkids.com. That's Cars with a K. We're a recognized 501c3 charity organization, so you'll receive a maximum tax deduction. What's more, you'll receive a free vacation voucher of 3 days and 2 nights.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Are you looking for the web's best sports news? Visit jockjournal.com. Sports media has lost its touch. It seems that journalists are scared to report what they see, in fear of losing access to the teams they cover. At jockjournal.com, you get inside information on the entire NFL community without all the politics or fears other writers have. That's jockjournal.com. When you need the NFL sports news, information, opinions, fantasy football, or discussions, there is only one place to go, and it's jockjournal.com.
You are listening to Jock Journal Radio. News, opinion, and discussion for all you Jock stars.
And we welcome you back on the Sports Drive. Frank Sprankle, Sean Mann, Nash Carey behind the glass for this Thursday morning. And by the way, Christmas is upcoming. Look, I'm sure there's a good number of family members that don't want to be surrounded by other family members, in-laws, aunts and uncles. Geez, do I have to have a conversation with these people? No, you don't. Not anymore, because Sports Mania, Name That Sport, is here. It is a sports trivia game. In fact, play the sports trivia game that everyone is talking about and using it as a distraction. Played by thousands upon thousands of sports fans. Hey, how about this? Free for 2 days only. Name That Sport. Boy, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Anyway, courtesy of, you can get it on iTunes. It's called Sports Mania, Name That Sport, the perfect solution from avoiding family members that you don't necessarily hate, you just don't want to be around them. So take advantage of Sports Mania, Name That Sport, available on iTunes. Okay, as mentioned, Frank Sprankle, Sean Mann here for this Thursday morning, hard to believe, 8 days. No, that's actually, yeah, I'm right. It's 8 days before Christmas. Oh my goodness, I got to get all my shopping done. There's got to be a shopping store for me because I don't know what to buy, people. All right, Sean, we're talking about Los Angeles here and the fact that there's going to be an NFL team. The question is, how many teams will there be? Will there be one? Will there be two? Will the St. Louis Rams be in the mixture? I'll be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if the St. Louis Rams are in this equation here because you took the words out of my mouth. I've been to St. Louis. Look, you're saying St. Louis is a baseball town? You got to visit St. Louis. I know you love baseball just as much as me. And I know you've been to Boston. You've been to Fenway Park. I know you enjoyed Fenway Park. I plan to visit Fenway Park one of these years. But I've been to St. Louis. I've been to Busch Stadium. And let me tell you, every St. Louis Cardinal game there seems like a playoff game. It's a sea of red all around the ballpark. The Cardinals, we're talking about the baseball Cardinals. We're not talking about the old football Cardinals that are making news in Arizona. But that's what brings the headlines in St. Louis. I don't get the sense it's much the Rams because I do work for another organization after midnights. I look at various articles from Midwest newspapers, and one of which is the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And I go on the St. Louis Post-Dispatch pretty much every day, and I will see at the top of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch sports, the website, the sports part of the website, that the St. Louis Cardinals are giving more attention than the St. Louis Rams. As a matter of fact, one of their big stories was about Yadier Molina. Another big story, Jason Hayward. He gone to the Chicago Cubs. The fact is, St. Louis is a baseball town. But the fact is, though, St. Louis could have been a football town if people had shown interest in the Rams and what they've done. Sean, understand this. If a team wins a world championship or gets to a world championship round or a game, whatever the case may be, it does have a long-lasting impact in that town. Okay, I'll tell you what. Maybe not quite the case in terms of a championship, but I'm going to use the Seattle Mariners of 1995. Think about that season, 1995, and the St. Louis Mariners defeating the California Angels in that one-game AL West playoff. I watched it on a Monday afternoon live, and then playing in the ALCS, getting past the New York Yankees in the ALDS, a New York Yankees team that was on the merge, a team with such many young talent, one of which being Derek Jeter. Think about that. That 1995 season literally saved the Mariners from relocation because there was some talk of the Mariners possibly moving elsewhere. There had been talk for years about them moving across the country completely to Florida. So if you take a look at the success of the Seattle Mariners, although not championship success, that 1995 season arguably saved baseball. But the fact that we're talking about the Rams moving to Los Angeles here potentially, that comes as a shock. And should it come to you? Because shouldn't that 1999 season have made football popular in St. Louis? It just doesn't.
They made the two Super Bowl appearances, 99 and 2001.
And football's not popular there?
And
what am I missing?
No, it's not popular because the Rams have just been the team that has kind of gone downhill. And that the fact is that since they've gone downhill, that they are a team that realizes that the Rams don't belong in St. Louis. They just
The
don't.
NFL doesn't belong in St. Louis. Listen, if you're going to have this great run, which should have established your team forever in St. Louis, and face it, Sean, face it, that 1999 season should have established in cement, in dry cement, the St. Louis Rams being permanently in St. Louis based on the fact that they won a Super Bowl. And by the way, you know what? Shouldn't we maybe – I don't know if I feel bad for Los Angeles here, if they indeed do get the Rams back. Because think about this. It's, by the way, the Rams left after the 94 season, right?
That's right. I think it was after 94 or 95.
No, it was after the – I understand. Okay, I think I know where you're coming from. The 94
After
season.
94, I think it was after 94.
It was. They lost the Raiders to Oakland. But isn't it kind of odd that we're talking about the Rams possibly going back to Los Angeles? And
I don't find it odd at all.
But hold on. What have they missed? Oh, by the way, you've missed 2 Super Bowls. Welcome back, Los Angeles. Welcome back. You get the Rams in Los Angeles. By the way, you missed the Rams being in 2 Super Bowls. On top of that, they won the Super Bowl in 1999. So welcome back. You just missed out on a couple Super Bowls and a Super Bowl championship in 1999.
Right. And you know what? I think that with the Rams, though, that they can be proud of that as an accomplishment, but I think St. Louis will not mind it at all. I really don't. I really think that it's not going to – it will not impact them, Frank, because, look, they've got the St. Louis is a great town. They've got things there that they can go – that people can go see. They've got the St. Louis Cardinals. There's a lot of other stuff that they got the what is it called? The Arch or the Arch?
I've been in the Gateway Arch. Yes, I've been in the Gateway Arch.
Yes,
visited. It's pretty.
It's still like a very, very. It's a very big city, and the Cardinals have been more dominant of late than the St. Louis Rams have. So I think if they become the LA Rams again, we're going to have to get used to that and realize it may not be bad after all.
You know what? I'm just thinking back to 20 years ago because I visited St. Louis a lot 20 years ago, having driven down to see Cub Cardinal games. I remember when that dome was being built. It was the TWA Dome, Trans World Airlines Dome. Now it's known as the Edward Jones Dome. Hard to believe. Sometimes I forget all these stadiums. I mean, as a matter of fact, because of the Monday night game between the Giants and the Dolphins, I actually had to remind myself that this is called Sun Life Stadium and not Landshark or Joe Robbie as it was at one point. But I remember when that dome was being built. And here's what's odd. That dome was actually viewed as state-of-the-art 20 years ago when it opened in 1995 for the Rams. And I'm thinking to myself, of all of these hotels, St. Louis is getting a Super Bowl. That's another thing, too. It's amazing. St. Louis has not gotten a Super Bowl. You figure with that dome, St. Louis have had a Super Bowl a good 15, even 10 years ago. But when we're talking about that stadium possibly being vacant, that stadium was state-of-the-art at the time. And now we're talking about about the Rams leaving. They don't like their stadium. Now, there is a proposed stadium on the riverfront, which actually looks nice. I don't know did you have a chance to see it, by the way?
I don't think I had a chance to see it.
Okay.
No.
Let me see if I'll find it for you. It's an open-air stadium that the Rams are trying to pursue, or not the Rams, the city of St. Louis. They're trying to pursue it as really just the last-minute ditch, and it looks nice. I'll tell you what, the location of it looks terrific. It's on the front of the Mississippi River. Not only that, it's an open-air stadium, which I guess compared to a dome, open air is pretty nice. Here, I'll send it to you. Here's a picture of it. I mean, tell me what you think of this stadium. I mean, tell me what you think of just how beautiful this stadium looks. I mean, open it. Tell me what you think.
This is what would be in St. Louis.
That's what would be in St. Louis. Do you see the Mississippi River? It's it's located on the Missouri side. It looks nice.
Yeah, but the way I look at it, Frank, is that I think it's highly unlikely, very, very much highly unlikely that a stadium would be taken care of. I don't see it. I just don't see that happening.
I don't see it either, although it does look like a beautiful stadium.
To me, it's a long shot. You know, it's a long shot, and that's a very interesting situation. You know, with what we're seeing.
Here's another thing. We're talking about the same